of Oklahoma coach Lincoln Riley's extension through 2025, Oklahoma Athletic Director Joe Castiglione managed to accomplish several tasks in one fell swoop of the Board of Regents' approval. The first is that he further solidified the partnership between himself and one of the brightest minds in college football and made more difficult the hiring of Lincoln Riley away to an NFL job at a moment when the university starts the school year with a third different school president in 3 years. For his part, Riley has steadfastly said he enjoys being the head ball coach in charge in Norman and had no plans to leave. Castiglione gave him a raise that will see Riley's direct deposit take in an average of $7.535 million over the next 6 years and more than $45 million total. This means also that Riley remains one of the highest paid college football coaches in the sport. Riley will be just 43 at the end of his contract, which will be his 11th year at OU, and will effectively mean he's made more than $1 million a year on average since the day he was born, and still not be eligible for AARP membership for more than a decade. Say it with me, Riley. Timeshares and IRAs. For perspective, Riley's average annual salary through the end of his contract would have ranked him as high as third in the sport behind Clemson coach Dabo Swinney, who made $9.3 million last year, and Nick Saban, who made $8.7 million last year. This according to USA Today, who compiled this data. Had Riley been paid like this in 2019, he'd be trailed by Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh at $7.5 million, Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher at $7.5 million, Georgia coach Kirby Smart at $6.7 million, Auburn coach Gus Malzahn at $6.8 million, Texas coach Tom Herman at $6.75 million, Purdue coach Jeff Brom at $6.6 million, and rounding out the top 10 would be Florida coach Dan Mullen at $6 million. Half of those guys have national championship rings. Riley does not. While some of those coaches will receive or have received a raise on last season's performances, notably LSU coach Ed Orgeron received an extension that will pay him an average salary of $9.255 million. The move to extend Riley was a raise that was followed by another sizable raise and extension for defense coordinator Alex Grinch. Grinch is expected to earn an average of $1.8 million annually following just 1 year as an assistant at OU. His pay bump is $400,000. That means Grinch's raise alone is $50,000 more than running backs coach DeMarco Murray is scheduled to make in his first year at Oklahoma. Grinch's $1.8 million, also nearly twice as much as Riley made as a coordinator at Oklahoma at $904,000 in his second year. Look, at his new annual salary, Grinch would leap into the top 10 of the highest paid assistants in the sport, with Castiglione saying terms were agreed to last February. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, these raises and extensions make sense. After all, Riley was being touted as a candidate to replace former Dallas Cowboys coach Jason Garrett, and Grinch was reportedly offered the chance to return to Washington State as head coach. When former Hawaii head coach Nick Rolovich was hired to coach the Cougars, and details of his 5-year contract showed he is scheduled to make $3 million on average, it's easy to see how and why Grinch received such a raise in pay. But the receipts show Oklahoma walked into the Peach Bowl ranked number 4 in the nation and left embarrassed to such a degree that the Sooners fell 3 spots to number 7 in the final ranking. The receipts show Grinch's 2019 defense ranked number 64 in points allowed per game. That's 3 spots behind 8-5 Oklahoma State and just ahead of 8-5 Texas. The Longhorns responded to giving up 27.5 points per game by firing their defensive coordinator, and OU has responded to Grinch's scheme, giving up 27.3 points per game with a raise. However, Texas gave up 292.5 passing yards per game. That ranked 126th out of 130 teams in the FBS. The Sooners were just a bit better than the average at number 56. For an OU pass defense, that finished near dead last a year ago, you can see why folks in Norman might believe Grinch earned his raise and are overjoyed with progress. However, that raise for both Riley and Grinch isn't for progress. These contractual gestures are guarantees for excellence. A points allowed per game ranking to match Grinch's top 10 salary is, as Don Draper said, what the money's for. These written acts act as much as shrewd negotiation as they do declarations of intent. Oklahoma will pay for excellence, but the intention with this much money and job security remains the same. It has been 20 years since Oklahoma was last crowned the national champion. With a young staff, a well-paid staff, a staff that has been put together specifically by him, Lincoln Riley is expected to win an 8th national championship. And for further perspective here, I turned 33 on Friday. I was 13 the last time Oklahoma won a national championship. That means I didn't have my driver's license, my Eagle Scout ranking. I had not been accepted to college. I was scared as hell getting ready to go to Booker T. Washington High School. And I had no idea I would do this job for a living. And you know what? Neither did Lincoln Riley. But you wanted the job. You wanted to be responsible for making sure the hungry monster stays fed. So, I am telling you, at the tender age of 36, Lincoln Riley,